This is a Fox News alert. Just not long ago, within the hour, Christine Blasey Ford has said she will not testify in front of Congress unless the FBI investigates her claims against Brett Kavanaugh. Well, just minutes ago, this show spoke exclusively with a high-level U.S. official who says the FBI will not do that. It will not investigate because what she's alleging is not a federal crime. That source says the FBI will only investigate if the White House demands it. Fox political analyst, the senior political analyst, Brit Hume, joins us tonight. So, Brit, what do you make of this? It's all happening so fast.
It's pretty transparent, though, and it all points in one direction. Delay, delay, delay. So at first, now we know, based on what we've been told at least, that Christine Blasey Ford was reluctant to come forward and was induced somehow to do so. Chuck Schumer was saying the other day that she should be able to come forward and whenever it is on her timetable to do so. But it looks to me like the Democrats managed to accelerate the timetable, perhaps not in her best interest. This is a sensitive matter with her. It's caused her, as far as we know, some pain and difficulty.
Yeah, I believe that.
It has the appearance that she's been pushed. And now she may be pushing back, or she doesn't want to testify, understandably. She never apparently did want to testify. And now, of course, they're finding a way to use that to say, we need an FBI investigation. Because the whole idea of this is to postpone the vote as long as possible. Right. Obviously, I think the Democrats had some hope that perhaps this, what they thought were explosive allegations, would sink the nomination. That pretty clearly isn't going to happen, at least at this stage. So the second best thing to happen was to stall it as long as possible. And that is unmistakably, in my judgment, what this is all about.
So the vote was scheduled for this Thursday.
Day after
it was
tomorrow.
delayed because we were waiting for her to testify on Monday.
On Monday, correct.
Now she's saying we need to delay till the FBI investigates. So if she's not testifying and the FBI is not investigating, then will the vote be Thursday?
Well, I have reason to doubt that because the committee is going to want to bend over backwards to make it clear that they really want to hear from her, that her story must be told and she must be heard. And so I suspect they'll keep that date open for a couple more days. That's just a guess on my part, but that's what I would think, because what's happening here is we're living in an atmosphere in which if a woman comes forward and makes an allegation, the burden of proof is on the defendant, is on the accused. And that is, nobody's saying that exactly outright, but that's the subtext of all these comments. I mean, Richard Blumenthal, for example, is saying that he can't identify circumstances under which, and others are saying they can't identify circumstances under which the nominee could clear his name. You heard Tim Kaine say, that's a big hypothetical. As if his innocence is a hypothetical. That is where we are, and that
Orwellian.
But believe me, make no mistake about it, the political power of the Me Too movement is real. It motivates people, and the Republicans, you can see they're all bending over backwards to say she ought to have her story told. The White House.
But what about I get it, and we have not attacked her. I sincerely feel sorry for her. But there's a whole other country. There are hundreds of millions of the rest of us. And there's a process to fill a vacancy on the Supreme Court. And why should this story delay it if she's not willing to come to Washington and testify? I don't understand why this can't go forward.
Well, I think from what you hear from Lindsey Graham and others, Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican of South Carolina, and others, is that they're prepared to go forward. They just have to leave this door open for a little while, is what it looks like to me. I think they're going to go forward. Now, remember, this isn't up really to the majority of Americans or the majority of right. Senators, the Republican majority. This is up to a tiny handful of senators. Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Jeff Flake, who's on the committee and could, by his single no vote, keep the nomination from coming out of committee. So a tiny handful of members on the Republican side are driving this. And the Republican leadership is working hard to keep them in the fold. And this hearing date is one manifestation of that.
Jeff Flake has a lot of power tonight.
Tonight he does. He may not have it much longer since he's retiring, but he, at the moment, he's got some say.
Brit Hume, thank you very much.
You bet, Tucker.